This is the X Factor presented by Xfinity alongside the two-time Pro Bowler TJ Lang. I'm Dannie Rogers, and TJ's going to go over who needs to be the X Factor for the Lions in Week 5 against the Minnesota Vikings, and then who for the Vikings needs to be the X Factor if they want to move ahead in the season to 2-3. TJ, X Factor for the Lions. He's been dubbed as tough as nails by Coach Dan Campbell. He says he blocks like he's 225 pounds. He's only about 182. Who's your X Factor for the Lions?
Yeah, he's a small guy, but really the last couple weeks been making a lot of plays. Khalif Raymond, you really saw him get more integrated in the offense late against Baltimore. Finally seemed like the chemistry was there between him and Jared Goff. And you take a look at this play last week against Chicago. I know this was his first of 2 touchdowns. Really nice design. In the play before, they ran Khalif all the way on the other side of the formation, ran just a little dive play up in the middle. This time they're going to run a similar motion, but this time he's going to throw on the brakes, little play action pass, find himself wide open, getting in the end zone for a big score there. I mean, he only had 3 catches last week, but two of them went for touchdowns, and that's what kind of leads you to the second play. You hear people all the time say they hate 3-man rush. This is a 3-man rush for Chicago, right? So you're thinking, okay, it might be tough to try to find somebody wide open. Khalif Raymond just going to read the coverage beautifully right here, lined up in the slot, sees the safety coming down. He's going to use his speed, just get to wide open, just in the middle of the field. Easy throw and catch. You see the chemistry that he's built late against Baltimore. The Chicago game, once again, he only had 3 catches, but 2 of them were for really big play touchdowns. That's what they need production-wise from him. They need a receiver to step up, be the number 1 guy, be the deep threat type guy. And he's third right now in receiving on this team behind TJ and behind DeAndre Swift, but he's averaging about 13 yards per catch. And that's big playability. And that's what this offense needs to get going starting against Minnesota really throughout the rest of the season. They need to find that deep play threat, a big guy that they can take a shot at, have faith, have confidence that he's going to make some plays. I think Khalif Raymond's a guy that's well on his way to filling that role.
Raymond is only 5 yards under surpassing all of his receiving yards last season. So he's on the radar now. How can he continue to have this kind of production, though?
Well, I think the confidence level for him after going through Chicago has got to be high. He had 6 targets. A couple of them were really not catchable, but the 3 that were, he brought them in, and obviously we just saw the 2 touchdowns. I think for a young player, I know he's been in the league for a while now, but being new here, really his first chance to kind of be highlighted in an offense. It's a heck of an opportunity for him, and I think if he continues to build on what he did against Chicago, he can maybe develop into that number 1 guy. He can develop into that big play receiver that the Lions so desperately need right now. And when you have 2 touchdowns on 3 catches, that does a whole lot for your confidence as well. That goes a long way.
Why not? All right, let's switch gears to the Vikings. Who needs to be the X Factor in Minnesota if they want to improve their record on the season?
Well, I think the first guy that sticks out is Dalvin Cook, and he missed a game a couple weeks ago. But last week against Cleveland, he ran the ball 9 times for 34 yards. And which is a very, very poor game for Dalvin Cook. Yes. I mean, I kind of compare this guy to an Aaron Jones from Green Bay. I mean, the more times he touches the ball, the more explosive he's going to be. You give him 9 touches, Minnesota's probably not going to win many games, and you saw that last week against Cleveland. But we'll go through this play here. This was the first play, actually, a couple weeks ago. First play of the game, right? They're coming out running the ball. You obviously see the heavy formation in here, a little bit of eye candy with the motion, but he finds a hole and he hits it. That's the thing that's so impressive about him is once he gets his shoulders squared up right there, I mean, he is downhill as fast as he can. It started off the game with an 11-yard carry. If you let him get going early in the game, he's going to make you pay. And especially when you look at the fact that David Montgomery had a lot of success last week, combined with the fact that Dalvin Cook had struggles against Cleveland, I think he's going to be a guy they've got to focus on. The first play of the game against Arizona, he goes for 11 yards. He finishes that game 22 carries for 131 yards. Now, this is how you stop him. Last week against Cleveland, we just talked about it. First play of the game, pretty similar, right? Little outside zone to the right. Cleveland does a nice job bringing some edge pressure off the left side. You're going to tackle him for a 1-yard gain. This is how you have to start the game against this type of offense. They've got playmakers on the outside with Thielen and Justin Jefferson. But everything through that offense goes through the run game. If you get after them early and you let them know that they're in for a dogfight, and you force them to try to be as one-dimensional as possible, that's what's going to give you the Lions the best chance to compete and to win this game.
Okay, you say stop the run early. Lions now down outside linebacker Romeo Cora to a torn Achilles that he suffered in Chicago. How much more difficult does stopping that run game get with a guy like him out?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult. When you talk about missing Romeo as a big gut punch, and obviously with Trey kind of working his way back through practice this week. He hasn't played the last couple games, but those are two big losses. Those are two of your most veteran players on defense. So as a coaching staff, you have to try to get creative. You can't just trust that our 6 defenders are going to be better than their 6 blockers. Sometimes that means bringing some pressure, which is what we saw the Browns do last week, the edge pressure. Sometimes it's rolling a safety down in the box, just giving yourself a little bit of extra manpower against that run. But ultimately, it's going to come down to the guys up front. And Michael Brockers had a really nice game last week. He flashed a lot against Chicago. But the rest of that front, you look at the film, and the guys are doing a really nice job of getting penetration. The next step is just getting off the blocks and finishing the play. You saw that a lot last week against Chicago, where it looked like it was going to be a 0-yard gain, maybe 1-yard gain, and it ends up being 5, 6, 7 yards. So that's going to be the biggest key for this defensive front this week, is finding a way to get off blocks, make the play. When you have a chance to tackle Dalvin Cook, you got to bring him down, because he's an explosive type guy. Every time he gets the ball in his hands, he's a threat to go 60, 70 yards.
Awesome insight. We'll see how Khalif Raymond, Dalvin Cook fare this weekend as the Lions travel to Minnesota to take on those Vikings. 1 Eastern kick this Sunday.